the information superhighway, an online network called Internet.
How do we start this?
I was going to ask you about that. Like, format-wise, is it going to be like, are we going to record later intros and outros, or do you just want one long thing?
I don't think we need that.
No, I don't think so either. Unless it's like a very special thing. Like if we mention an actor and then that actor dies by the time.
Oh, no.
Then I feel like just say like hey, it's just
addendum?
FYI, we didn't really know that our plan to kill them was going to go through that soon.
Oh, no. That being said, I'm Dylan.
I'm Scott.
And welcome to Steady Balcony.
Well, I guess it's better than a rickety balcony.
Than a rickety one. Because when you have a rickety one, you tend to fall off of it.
Right. It squeaks a lot too.
Yeah,
Could
that's
annoy your
something
neighbors
as well.
if you have neighbors.
That's never a good thing.
I imagine if you have a balcony that my first thought was apartment building, but I guess regular houses can have balconies.
Yeah, and apartments.
I
you
said
said
apartments.
Boy, I've
You're
been up
right.
for far too
Thank
long.
you for validating me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, regular houses can have balconies.
Sure.
Especially fancy ones.
Oh,
boy.
big like wraparound balconies.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's
I love
like,
it.
did you ever watch Chuck?
No, that's a show that everyone has told me to watch, and I never got around to it.
The early seasons are pretty good, and then it gets real weird,
and
real
then it's
fast.
just Subway ads throughout the.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff in that show. But
I know general trivia about it, but yeah.
The reason I bring it up is because there's apparently like everything romantic happens on a balcony in like a French castle.
Oh, really?
And it's the same balcony in the same castle. They just wind up there every time.
Oh, so is it like? Do you think it's a choice by the people?
I think so.
Okay.
Because I'm actually one time I'm remembering. I haven't seen the show in a while, but I'm pretty sure one time they do go back there. Like, they specifically go back there for a reason. For like a romantic reason,
right?
Which I'm trying to dance around spoiling.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So it's like this is the first time we were on a balcony together.
Yeah,
you remember that?
It's where all relationships blossom on balconies.
That's right.
And steady balconies.
Yeah, not rickety ones.
Exactly.
Of course. Should we explain a little bit because the show's not actually called Steady
It's not? What? Is there like a specific part in this podcast where we should explain what the hell's going on?
Well, I would say if this is going up as the first episode, fingers crossed, then I feel like now would be the time.
Probably.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've been talking for a while. You go
Sure,
for it.
yeah.
What is this?
This is a podcast between myself, Scott, and Dylan over there, in case you forgot our names already,
That's
which is
me.
fine. I forgive you. It's not a big deal.
I mean, it's in the title, so.
That is true. So I really, that's on you if you forgot the name. But, yeah, so they, basically, we are friends, and we do a lot of, we are in proximity to one another.
Yes.
Yeah, that's objectively
We're
true,
about
I think.
Fit 20 minutes apart.
Yeah, and we're currently at the same table.
Well, yes.
So a few seconds apart at most.
A little bit.
Yeah, but we do a lot of YouTube stuff separately and occasionally together as well. And we just figured we wanted to do a conversational podcast because we focus a lot of the stuff that we focus around is nerdy stuff, comic books, superheroes, all that jazz. Chuck, of course.
Of course.
Yeah. But we just figured it might be fun to try something different, to just do a conversational type podcast where we don't really bring anything to the table except ourselves and our imaginations.
And these wonderful Christmas decorations that you can't
That
see.
you can't see right now, but they are abundant.
Mm-hmm.
And so the reason why we introduced it by calling it was Steady
Balcony.
So I don't know why, but it's just we just think it's funny. Just bear with us. We just think it's funny to just go to a random word generator and come up with a topic for our.
The specific one I'm using is for names of a project.
Yes.
So it just comes up with stuff like this is I've had it open for a while, so we have a list here.
Yeah, just read off some of the highlights.
We've got cat homeless, needless windshield.
That's right.
I liked that one.
That's a good one.
Reborn spider was pretty good.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah, freaky llama.
Freaky llama. The Freaky Llama podcast.
So we'll probably trade off reading them off each time.
Sure.
So like since I did this one, you'll probably take the next one.
Of course. Now, the official title, so far,
Right.
the working title of this podcast is just The Online,
Podcast.
with Scott and Dylan.
Yep.
Because I'm not going to lie to you. That's what the name is.
Yeah.
That's what the show is. It's an online podcast.
podcast.
It's the online podcast. We're breaking new ground with this stuff.
Exactly. We've got a domain and everything.
That's right. What's the domain, Dylan?
Onlinepodcast.website. So head on over there.
Head on over to
for all your needs.
onlinepodcast.website. I'm sure it'll just redirect you to iTunes or SoundCloud or something.
Boy, we're gonna make a commercial for this podcast
You think so?
in like a VHS old style.
Oh, yes.
Come on down the online podcast website.
Well, we just thought of this idea like a couple hours ago, right? And I'm already thinking logo ideas.
Yeah.
And I want it to look really like old, either like early 90s or even 80s, like before podcasts were even, before that.
Just like weirdly
it's as
archaic.
if podcasts existed back in
We're
like
the first ones.
we're the first one. We're the online podcast.
Exactly.
That's kind of the vibe that I want to get from the logo. So if you look at our logo right now, if you're in the future and you're seeing it and it looks really bad, that's on purpose.
Don't worry about it.
You're welcome. We're not amateurs here. This is not amateur hour.
No.
All right?
Not at all.
We do this for a living.
Well,
Currently.
Not this podcast.
Not this one, but other stuff. we do
Other
for a living.
podcasts. We only do podcasts, by the way.
Nothing else.
Nope.
Well, all right.
That's it, folks.
That's it for the whole podcast. I feel like we've done this whole experiment.
Is it going plain?
There's a plane now.
This whole experiment?
I feel like we've exhausted this whole podcast already in the first... How long have we been going?
I don't know. I don't have a count.
Okay. Let's assume it's been like 10 minutes.
Who knows? I got some conversation starters here.
Oh, please. We're not friends, so this might help.
Let's see if we have anything. Oh, also disclaimer, we've both been up for... You've been up far longer than I have.
I've been up for longer than 24 hours at this point.
Okay. I've been up for like, I think 18 hours on like 5 hours of sleep. So,
But I was telling you this earlier. I went to Starbucks, and I get a lot of work done. And I had 2 fun stories about that I shared with you, but I haven't shared with these wonderful people.
Yeah.
Because they just met me. But I go to Starbucks pretty regularly to work on stuff. And so often that they've started to recognize me, which is always a fun thing when you go to a place enough that they recognize you. So I was there real early in the morning, like anywhere between 5 and 6 a.m. So I was the only person there. There were 3 other people working, and they were all taking their 10-minute breaks at the same time, and they just like shout out to me, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna take our TEDs. Scott, you gonna man the fort?" And I was like, "I got this." So that was a lot of fun. But then they also gave me a free refill on I was just having an iced coffee. And I was telling you, I never thought caffeine affected me in any way, shape, or form. I never thought it has.
But it does.
But it does. Because, and I discovered this I had already ordered like the biggest iced coffee I could. And then they gave me a free refill for fun, like immediately after. And so I was like, yeah, I'll drink this. And then like within minutes, I was shaking. I couldn't figure. I thought I was like nervous for some reason, and I was like, "What am I nervous about? Why am I shaking so much? Do I have like a school project? I forgot. I've been out of college for years. Is there something I left there? What's happening?"
Suddenly, you have a realization.
Just like I have one like oral presentation I just forgot to do.
He's been waiting. You futzed like the year that you were supposed to do it on.
My whole class is just sitting there waiting for me still.
You're like, well, I mean, he said he needed this much time to get his presentation done, so...
We'll give just a couple more days. I'm sure he'll make it. I did take a speech class in college, though. Is that ever something that you took?
I didn't take a speech class, but in middle school, we had a drama class. It was just called drama class, but it like switched between theater, speech, and just watching movies in the music room.
Nice.
So it was a fun class. So there were times, and it became an elective at one point. And when it became an elective, then it became really fun. So we would do things like every year the drama teacher would have us put on a puppet show for the
like sock
kindergartners.
puppets, or we're talking like Muppets,
No,
like full
like-
on Muppets.
Like we would make the puppets out of like I don't remember the material, but we would make their heads and we would make clothes and stuff, and we would have to create. And I went to a Catholic middle school, so we would have to pick a story out from the Bible and do it from there. Hi, Wanda. Yeah, I don't remember which one. I don't think I actually got to make a puppet or participate because I was sick through most of the process.
In fact, I'm pretty sure I never made a day.
I wasn't even in drama class.
In fact, this was not even me I'm referring to.
No.
I'm hearing it. This is
some
all
guy.
secondhand story that I remember
Exactly.
hearing about. I never even went to school.
Well, I did drop out of high school, but that's a story
true.
for a different
I dropped
day.
out of college, but not before I did my speech class. And I remember it was a lot of fun because it was one of the only classes that nobody ever took seriously. Because there were 4 assignments in the entire class, the entire semester, and that was just 4 speeches that you had to make at different points.
Gotcha.
And you could speak about anything at all, and people had to listen to you.
Oh no.
So we had a lot of people who were like pushing a really, really strong political point sometimes.
Yikes.
Not great. You had people like me who were talking about how Batman's not really great at his job, or like me talking about how fonts are made. And I'm like, when else am I going to be able to talk about this? And people have to pay me attention. So that was a lot of fun. There were other people, though, who you could tell were not prepared at all. There was some guy who made a speech about Doctor Who, but the way he presented it, like he was one of those things where he was like speaking kind of slowly, kind of repetitive. Like he was there without a topic. And he was and he like forgot it was his day to speak.
Oh,
and he was like, okay, let me talk about the Doctor. And he did it in like really vague terms, like, so there's this guy. He's been seen throughout history, righting wrongs, saving us, saving the Earth. And like everyone's thinking like, is he like, what is this? Is he talking about like Jesus or something? Like what? The Doctor. Oh, okay. All right. And of course, that's like not everybody in the class knew what Doctor Who was. Yeah. So most people were incredibly confused by it.
I can imagine so.
Yeah. But I thought it was fun. Like, as soon as it clicked in my head that he was talking about the Doctor, I was like, oh, nicely done.
I see what you're doing.
But also, you're definitely not prepared for
this. You don't have a topic here.
No. You were like, what am I interested in? What did I just watched Doctor Who last night. I guess Doctor Who? Let's go for it.
There's this guy who kind of goes around doing stuff.
And it's the same guy made another speech about paracord. You know what that is?
No.
Okay, so that if you ever, most of the time you'll see people wearing it around their wrist. It's like little braided paracord stuff. It's really good survival material, and yeah,
I know what that is.
It's like all-purpose type of stuff.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure. Once again, he didn't actually have a topic. He just looked around and was like wearing a paracord bracelet.
Oh, that's amazing. That's like when people just like, they need to name someone and they just look around the room real quick.
What's my name? My name is Pear.
Pear Cup Fridge.
Pear Cup Fridge.
Oh, I'm Pear Cup Fridge.
That's
nice
right.
To meet your acquaintance.
Of the Georgia Cup Fridges.
The Georgia Cup Fridges. I don't know why we have an accent.
It's not a very Georgian accent either.
Not at all.
Is it Georgian? I have to imagine so.
Georgian? Georgian? What kind of accent do people from Georgia have?
Probably a very southern one, yeah?
I would assume so. But I feel like they have like a really
Georgia
niche accent.
Savannah, Georgia. It's got to be something like that, right?
Oh, right, like a really molassesy, out of the mouth type accent.
Of course.
Just real slow like.
Are you one of those people that finds southern accents charming or annoying? I mean, you've lived in Texas your entire life.
I don't hear a lot of it though.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I just moved to Texas a couple months ago, and
in the city you don't hear it much.
No, I don't hear them. No. Well, we moved to Dallas, or I moved to Dallas anyway. We collectively.
I've been here my entire life.
I am Venom, but
yeah, you don't. I don't know. You hear it occasionally with people in DFW.
There's in South Carolina, which is where I was from. There are different parts, right?
Okay.
So like the part where I was in Charleston, you'll get some, but then there's a place called Branchville, and like immediately you can recognize in your brain that Branchville
has
a very thick accent.
Gotcha.
So you can always tell when someone's from Branchville because you'll just be like, introducing yourself in a circle like it's the first day of school or something or whatever, and people are like, hey, I'm Pear Cupridge, and someone else will be like, and I'm this other person, and it's like, oh god, they're from Branchville.
Amazing.
Of the Branchville other persons. So yeah. But yeah, do you find Southern accents charming at all?
I was gonna say it depends on the Southern accent, because like rogue Southern accent, yup, but like I'm a Southern boy, I'm coming on down to give you a nice yo. That like no, I can't.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Yikes.
But like the kind of almost like an English accent, but a Southern accent version of that, where it's kind of subtle, but it's definitely there, is definitely more charming than hick, for lack of a better word.
Sure. Yeah, I have a couple friends who are not in America, right? They're global friends.
Sure.
I have that much charisma, but they've talked before about how Americans, and it's something I've never really noticed until I got like an outsider's perspective, but they're saying like America has a ton of accents.
Yeah, I can believe that.
I mean, and I got that. I also had a friend who didn't believe he had an accent, which, to be clear, everyone has an accent. But he was like, we were talking about like British accents or something, or Australian accents, and I was talking about like, and like an American accent like yours, and he was like, I don't have an accent. This is just accentless voice. This is how humans were built to talk. He didn't say that. I'm reading in between the lines. But yeah, I don't know.
That's weird to me. I don't know. I mean, obviously I see where it's coming from, because like,
yeah, I mean, I don't
all he knows, but American accents are not as varied until you get into like the clump that's been civilized forever of like New York and Boston.
You've got New York. You got your Midwestern like Minnesota type of thing.
Minnesota.
Like, did you ever watch that documentary, the Netflix one?
No.
About what was it called again? About the guy who may or may not have killed, whatever, the serial killer thing.
OJ?
No. Oh boy, I can't remember what it's called.
Making a Murderer?
Yeah, Making a Murderer.
Okay.
That was like totally
that.
Set in the Midwest, and it's unintentionally hilarious.
Perfect.
Because you get to hear people talking, and you get to hear phone calls, and there's no hello. Like there's for phone calls, there's like no hello. It just starts with like, yeah. And it's like a back and forth of like, it's like two people. It's a back and forth. Every phone call starts with, yeah, okay, yeah, okay, you doing all right? Like it's,
oh, like, that's amazing,
no hello, and I love it so much.
Oh, that's great. That's incredible.
Do you have a favorite accent that you like to listen to? Because I sure do. English accents? Yeah.
Just sounds so nice.
Sure. I think Australian to me is a really fun accent.
Right up there.
For sure. But holy cow, like Irish and Scottish. I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't. I mean, look, I'm a simpleton. I can't tell the two apart. But I had a friend who was Scottish, and his mom had a really fun accent to listen to.
Nice. So, do we want to go to these conversation starters that I've prepared?
Yeah. Let's hit up a conversation starter.
I like them. I think conversation starters are fun. All right, let's see. These come from Reddit.com. Ask Reddit subreddit. It's a very popular subreddit that people like to go to,
including us right now.
Yeah, we're not gonna go into the threads. I'm just gonna read the questions.
Yeah.
Here's one. It's the top post of this week, so you can pinpoint when this was recorded. What everyday skill becomes suspicious if you're too good at it?
Oof.
And I think
knife sharpening.
Knife sharpening? Is that an everyday skill?
You gotta keep those,
your knives
you gotta
every
keep those
day?
knives sharp, Dylan.
Oh boy.
All right.
That's a little scary.
All right,
Speaking
what would you
of knife
say?
sharpening,
Yeah.
we're already off. It worked already. We're in
Yeah.
a conversation now.
Yeah.
Did your knife sharpener end up working out?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm real
cool.
good at it. Suspiciously good at it.
Oh no. Because I remember I was there when you opened it, and you like did a thing, and you're like, "Well, this ain't working."
Yeah, it made a real loud noise.
Yeah.
And it's just like I just bought a knife sharpener because the knives I bought were garbage. And they were it's PSA. The number one way people hurt themselves with knives is because they're not sharp enough, and you start applying a lot of pressure, and then maybe something slips, and then you hurt yourself. And so better safe than sorry. I got a knife sharpener on Cyber Monday because it was super cheap. Pinpoint when this episode was recorded. But we, so I got it in, and then you were there with me, and I was like, let's try it out real fast. And I grab a knife, and I think part of the problem was I got a serrated knife.
Oh, right.
And then it was already dull, so I was feeding it through. It was not like an electric one. It was one that you just crank through yourself. Yeah. And it just made this horrible and I was like, yikes, that doesn't sound right. And I think I was using it right.
Yeah.
Right. But I think the problem was, number one, it was a serrative knife, so it was already going to make a noise anyway. And number two, it was just really dull. But I have since sharpened all my knives. I've gotten suspiciously good at it. And I have not cut myself. Not that I cut myself before. I was preemptively trying to keep myself from cutting.
I stabbed myself with a knife the other day, but it didn't.
On purpose? Why?
No.
Oh, okay.
I
misread that.
Some chicken breast, frozen chicken breast, and it wasn't frozen. It was just raw chicken breast. That's what I was going for.
Yeah.
I was cutting it, and like I think I just like poked my finger, but nothing happened.
Yeah.
So it was fine. It was a fun experience for
and
me.
in that moment, Dylan found out he was impervious to knives.
And that's what I'm suspiciously good at. Resisting knives.
Taking knife damage.
Yeah, that's my everyday task. Get knives thrown at me.
But what would you, other than knives then, what would you say is is a task that you could become suspiciously good at? An everyday task.
I feel like...
can I have it?
Sure.
You
can do another one.
Okay, I was going to say, here's a legitimate one, not knife sharpening. But, like, I feel like people are even bragging about how good they are at stalking people online.
Oh, yeah.
Right? People who are able to, like, go and find people's, like, Facebook or Instagram. God. And, like, it's become almost a thing where... we joke about it, like, oh yeah, I'm like, I'll go stalk this person later or something like that. But people are actually really good at it, and sometimes it's a bit suspicious.
Have you had a friend like that?
Yeah, I have a sister.
Okay, fair enough. I had a friend like that. That friendship didn't end well.
Oh no.
You know who you are.
I doubt they're listening.
Probably not.
What happened?
I wouldn't put it past them. They're an internet
they
stalker.
are a stalker.
So,
yeah.
I mean, they know about all this.
Wait, were they stalking you?
No, not me.
Okay.
Well, yes. It was just...
But everyone collectively.
Yeah.
So, okay.
It was just...
They were the shadow broker. No.
I'm trying to be real vague because there is a chance this could come back to me.
Oh, sure. Make up some lies to throw them off the trail. Well, now it's not because I set it up. But.
They basically were just a very toxic person to be around because they stalked people so much, and because of that, they would go into other people's Instagram photos, look at who liked that photo, and then if they didn't like that person, and you, like, say you put up a picture of yourself,
okay,
and this person, the stalker, we'll just refer to them as the stalker didn't like you.
We're going to refer to them as Pear... What was it?
Pear Cupfridge?
Pear Cupfridge.
Yeah, so Pear Cupfridge doesn't like you, but I do. You're my friend. You're great.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You post a picture on Instagram.
Which filter am I using?
Sepia, for some reason.
I would never... Can we go Valencia? That's a classic.
Sure,
that's
Valencia.
A classic one.
Go for that one.
Yes.
And I like the picture because that's my due diligence, even though I never go on Instagram.
Yeah.
And then... Pear Cupfridge.
Wait, so are you the stalker at this point that you're finding my image? Because...
Well, sometimes I occasionally go on Instagram.
Yeah, okay.
And on this random day, I saw it and clicked on it.
All right, fair enough.
the stalker would go in and look
Pear cup
fridge, right?
Yeah.
Would go in and look at your picture and be like, "Oh, okay." And then Pear cup fridge would click on who liked the picture and would scroll down and see that I liked your picture.
Okay.
And then Pear cup fridge would text me and be like, "Hey,
with a screenshot of the evidence.
yeah, why'd you like Scott's picture?" And then I'd get yelled at for it.
Wait, do they not like me? I missed the setup.
Yeah, they don't like you in
okay.
this situation.
Gotcha.
Just and that it didn't happen a lot to me, but it happened a lot to other people. It would occasionally happen to me, and that's not someone that I wanted to be friends with.
Yeah.
So
boy, that sounds like a nightmare.
There was a point where I was fed up and I told Pear cup fridge, to fuck off. Basically.
Oh boy.
I used very lighter terms.
Sure.
They were just like, be honest with me, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, I was honest. They called me an asshole and we haven't spoken since.
Well,
so
fair enough. But
it's fine.
I would just say, like, because the whole point of the question was, like, what's an everyday thing, right? And what I was trying to talk about was, like, how I do think that cyber or stalking and some has become some sort of it's somehow become normalized.
Yeah.
That people are like, oh, it's all I can stalk them later. Whatever.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know. So I feel like that would be one where if all of a sudden they're pulling up like bank records and they're like, yeah, I don't know, I just found it.
This just happened.
That's
I'm
a bit
starting
suspicious.
a mortgage with them somehow.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, that is a bit suspicious.
But you had one and I interrupted you. What was the one?
Mine's gonna go in a different direction.
Okay.
I think just menial tasks like washing the dishes or cleaning your clothes. If you're real good at that.
Real good. Define someone being
suspicious.
real good at like doing the dishes. What would that look like?
Maybe just like maybe you don't even see their dirty dishes ever.
Like
everything's spotless.
I'm imagining the scene from The Hobbit when they're all doing the dishes together and like throwing the plates around and everything is like flawless. That's suspicious to me.
And that's like not even suspicious in a way where it's bad, like you think there's some kind of
you just know
soap killer.
You just know there's a backstory here.
Yeah,
somewhere.
you're just like, why are you so good at washing the dishes? There's something here. But yeah, stuff like that is interesting.
I mean, if you want all your gold back, just set up a dishwashing company.
Exactly.
You got it.
If you want all the gold that's behind the phantom plate back there.
Oh.
Where'd that phantom plate go?
It's not gold.
It's a bridge to Narnia.
Bridge to Narnia?
Bridge to Narnia. It's a bridge to Narnia.
Narnia. You're right.
Did you ever see Bridge to Terabithia?
Of course I did, and I cried like a baby.
Oh, I think everyone did.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that movie's quite a trip.
I didn't think that. But are we gonna spoil it right now for people, or are we just gonna continue? We're gonna keep it vague.
How long is Bridge to Terabithia?
It's been out for a while.
Let's see.
Spoilers for Bridge to Terabithia?
This is a conversational podcast. Spoilers for literally anything that could possibly enter our mindscape.
Mm-hmm. It's been out for quite some time.
Let's see. Bridge to Terabithia.
I'm gonna say probably close to a decade.
2007 fantasy drama.
Yeah, I was just close.
Yep.
Yeah.
Boy.
It's been out for almost a decade. I think it's fine.
Isn't the rule 15 years?
Who comes up with these rules?
I don't know, some guy.
Fair enough.
What's their name? Pear cup fridge?
Pear cup fridge is responsible for everything.
We're terrible at recurring bits.
Yeah.
Can't remember Pear cup fridge's name.
No, but look, I think it's fine. I did not think when the girl, spoilers, died in the movie, I didn't think that was real. I thought they were going to come up with an explanation to be like, nah, but not really. She's going to come back and it's fine.
Oh, God, the CG troll girl.
Oh, yeah. Is it real bad?
Yeah, I knew it. I thought it was real bad when I watched it as a kid.
This was like during a time when like, yeah? Are you going to show me a picture?
It's kind of a nightmare.
Yeah, it really is. This was during a time when Harry Potter had been going strong for a bit at this point. Narnia was going for a bit too. Right?
I think so, yeah. This is 2007, so well into it.
Yeah.
Especially Harry Potter.
So people were really into these like kid fantasy world type movies. There was another one called the Spiderwick Chronicles.
Yeah.
You saw
I
that
was
one?
super into that.
Oh, really? I never saw it in theaters, but I always wanted to. And then I finally watched it with just on TV or something, and I was like, "Is that right?"
I had I watched all the movies, and that was one of the few times that I went into the original media, but not the books.
Oh, okay.
Like you would think. I found, because I didn't really care for reading at the time, I was way younger. I found they had kind of like a Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them type textbook.
Sure.
On the fairies and all the stuff that are.
Oh, so it was like a
Spider
guide to that world.
Yeah, and it had all of that in there. And the thing that fascinated me so much about the Spiderwick Chronicles is they focused a lot on grounding it, so that all of this could be possible. So they explained one that I remember that sticks in my mind because of a story that I will tell in a minute. Is the explanation of a certain type of fairy existing because it explains why sometimes sprinklers will just turn on for no reason, which doesn't happen, but
they're on timers.
yeah,
I think
my young mind was I don't think that was the exact explanation,
right?
But there was some explanation involving water and sprinklers or something that was evidence for these fairies existing, like a random phenomenon.
Oh, okay.
And there was a time where I went up to my friend, we'll call him
look around the room.
Pinecone Hatman.
Yep.
I went up to my friend Pinecone, and I was opening the book, and he was like, "Hey, what are you reading there?" And I was like, "Oh, it's the Spiderwick Chronicles book. It's great. Did you know that fairies are actually real?" I 1000% believed this at the time.
Oh, so you weren't trying to pull one over on him.
No.
This was
I
wholeheartedly...
was trying to convert him
to
my side.
You had seen the light that fairies were real.
Exactly, because of this book explaining it.
Okay.
And I explained that to him, and I don't even know what his response was. I think he just was like, "All right, dude." But this was in second grade or something.
Of course.
And that memory sticks in my mind, and I really enjoyed that book. I wonder if I could find it. Let's see.
Of course. I feel like around this time there was Where the Wild Things Are made a live action movie.
Oh god, that movie's terrible.
You thought it was terrible?
It's real bad.
I liked it.
That movie's maybe I need to go back and watch it, but I watched it originally, and it's the most disjointed, weirdly paced movie
it absolutely is. It's completely disjointed. It's weird. It doesn't make much sense, but that's what I like about it, because it is supposed to take place in Max's mind as a child, and I felt like that's how a child would think about things.
I remember a specific scene in that where just the two birds just fall onto the beach and they're just dead, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What's happening in this movie?
I think Ray Liotta did a voice of one of the wild things, which makes a lot of sense to me.
Let's talk about malls.
Okay, that was a real rough segue.
Hey man, I just want malls are something that interests me.
Yeah,
because every city has a couple malls.
Sure.
But was that growing up in South Carolina, or you grew up in a couple different cities? But we'll just say South Carolina specifically.
Sure.
Was there a mall that you went to consistently, or were there a few?
There was, because I've lived in a couple different cities, as you said. In South Carolina, there were two. Okay. But mostly there was just, depending on which city I was in, there was only one per city, sort of a thing.
Was that a hangout spot?
I mean, I definitely hung out there with my friends.
Yeah.
We didn't have money, so we didn't. So it was just us walking around the mall going, that'd be nice to have.
That was something that was so confusing to me about, when I was growing up, it was that was the thing. You go to the mall with your friends. But I never did that because, A, 12, we don't have money, and B, how am I going to get there? So there was never something, I think I did it maybe once or twice, with oh boy, I was gonna say I'm trying to dance around
Pinecone Hatman?
Not Pinecone Hatman. Pinecone Hatman I stopped being friends with because he became a jock. But that's fine.
Boy, you really like to actually label people with names.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm just a friend.
Pear, I'm just, because we talked about Pear cup fridge earlier.
Right. Okay.
And they're kind of involved in this, but I was going to say
Okay.
the name of another person if I said that name.
You don't need to specify anything to me at all.
No, I know.
You could just say a
But-
person I knew.
So back in middle school,
Yeah.
and this is getting even more specific, but back in middle school, they're going to find out. Back in middle school.
You don't have to make it specific. You
I
don't
know.
need to include these details.
I'm just
You could have
worried.
said last week. You didn't have to say back in
week.
middle school.
This is how you tell stories.
All
Scott.
right, fine.
So yesterday, I went to the mall.
That's right. That's right.
There was a time where, wait, how did comics do it? Just like back then?
Yeah, it's
There we go.
Then. Yeah.
Then I would go to the mall with a small group of friends, and we would just kind of we didn't have any money, so we would just go to like GameStop,
Of course.
and walk around, or like Forever 21 and walk around, or
You weren't 21 then.
we would try on clothes and not buy them too. Just like
Oh,
don't do that.
That's a real scumbag
Yeah.
thing to do, I think.
I don't think I ever tried anything on, especially since Forever 21 has like 3 pants and that's the guys section. But there was I don't know what we did mostly. Now you like just
Nah.
go to the mall as a thing.
Yeah,
to go
I
to the
feel like
mall.
the only thing my friends and I ever did was go to the food court, or if we really
Yeah.
didn't have money, we'd just try the free samples at the food court.
Oh no. Did your parents not feed you?
No, they did.
You
But
just,
like,
you just wanted free samples?
but like, I don't know. Food court food is good. It's kind of
You're right.
tasty.
That's fair.
You know. I mean, I think I've only been to the mall by myself once. It's not a
Oh,
thing
okay.
I like to do by myself.
For me, it's not. I don't think going to the mall specifically is a thing I like to do by myself, but I end up in malls by myself a lot.
You just find yourself in a mall.
Like literally, I told you about a couple weeks ago. I pulled an all-nighter to try and fix my sleep schedule, and this was actually a couple months ago, I guess. I'm sorry. Then I pulled an all-nighter to fix my sleep schedule, and I had to get a lot of chores done. Actually, it wasn't to fix my sleep schedule. It was because I started on a project, and I wanted to finish it, and Fry's didn't open until 9.
Fry's
So-
is an electronics store.
Yeah, it's an electronics store. It didn't open till 9, and it was around 6:30ish. So I was like, well, that's only 2.5 hours. I'll just stay up, and then I can also fix my sleep schedule because I messed it up by working on this project. So I did that. I waited till 9, went to Fry's, got my project stuff, and then was like, hey, my friend's birthday's coming up, needed to go get them a present. So I plugged in the farthest Barnes & Noble I could because I was listening
Barnes & Noble's a bookstore.
Yep. Because I was listening to podcasts and I wanted more time to listen to it in the car, and I was just
So
having
you
a nice time.
purposely were
I went
picking
to a really far one.
Gotcha.
But what I didn't realize was it was one in the mall. So I just ended up at a mall. So I was in the Barnes & Noble at the mall, and I was like, oh, okay. I knew where it was, closer I was getting to there. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So, and that was also the day where I did a lap around the mall, just because I needed to waste time and keep myself awake. And I was like, there's a movie theater here.
You saw a movie?
Yeah, that was when I saw Snowden, and I was like, oh, cool, that's great.
Oh boy.
But yeah, that's...
I don't like doing things by myself. Like, for me, if I'm by myself, I'm in my home,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like doing work, but like I don't know. When I'm alone, that to me signifies either I'm like resting or I'm working. If I'm doing recreational activities, that's my be with other people time. I can't.
Okay.
I'm not the kind of person that's entertained by myself, I guess.
I value very much spending time with myself because
Yeah.
it lets me think about what I'm doing and like clear my head a little bit.
I mean, like I do that, but again, it's like I just stay at home. I
Yeah.
don't go anywhere.
I think you also don't have a car.
Right, but but even still, like I could if I ordered food, for example, I could just use that same amount of money and go out and get food.
Probably.
Let's recap. Let's not. though.
Steady balcony,
Yep.
mission success. Do you think so?
Yes, I think so. I agree. I think we built it. It's rock steady.
rock solid. People are gonna have
solid. What do you think the maximum capacity on our steady balcony is gonna be?
Something like
That's a what?
one of those shoes, like a shimmet, about there, flat rate. You know,
Right, that makes sense to me.
yeah. I don't want to give anybody a specific number because
No,
if
of
they
course
get
not.
up there, they'll be disappointed. It's good enough to have a romantic escapade on.
Right, mahogany,
Yep, that's the
classic.
Anyway, do we have a sign off
Oh, yikes.
of any kind? Thanks for stopping by to the
Join us next time
the,
when another random generated.
the only podcast in the 7 Seas. Join us next time on our new podcast, Timely Yard.
I assume that's what the steady balcony looks out over.
Yes, of course.
It's just like, what was it? A
Timely Yard.
timely yard.
What does that mean? Just snowballs into another podcast. All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening.
We don't have a sign
I've been
off.
Scott.
I've been Orem Chaos Extraordinaire.
Oh, yikes. Okay. Bye.
For any of our viewers who have access to internet, we invite your comments.